We are back. This is Matchplot, and today we're looking ahead to a great match, Coventry versus Birmingham. Coventry remain unbeaten in the league after a tight 0-0 draw in which the game could have gone either way. Performance-wise, Coventry have looked good so far this season. However, with 4 of those 6 games being draws, Frank Lampard will be keen to get back to those 3 points. Birmingham, on the other hand, sit level on points with Coventry, and they come into this game off the back of a tight 1-0 win versus Swansea, a good win by all accounts. Overall, they've played strongly so far this season and have a very strong squad. That said, their form has been questionable away from home so far, so they'll be looking for some change there. Now let's jump into lineups. Coventry fans saw the shock omission of Mason Clark with Thomas-Asante filling in at left wing. And whilst Thomas-Asante did play well, Mason Clark was certainly missed. A slight hint at our lack of squad depth. As we look into the next game, well, Mason Clark's still on the mend, it's unlikely he'll be able to start, so the lineup looks fairly set. Defensively, Kitching and Thomas are still managing to keep expected goals against low, and so most likely will keep new signing Wolfenden out the squad. Birmingham last out sat in a more 4-2-3-1 shape, with Gray taking position on the right-hand side, and this strayed away from their typical 4-4-2 shape. Whilst they may sit Stansfield just in behind again, we are likely to see the 4-4-2 continue, and they've certainly got good quality options to bring into the mix. Now into Birmingham's base stats. Overall, Birmingham have a lot of similarities to Coventry, and you'll see that as we go through. Defensively, they sit very high up the pitch, seeking to squeeze and press the opposition into their own half, again reflected in their offensive line height as well. Birmingham in fact being one of the most, if not most aggressive pressers in the league. In a very similar fashion to Coventry, you'll see high centre-backs, aggressive wing-backs and a more narrow attacking line. Looking at their shots, something to note is the number of shots outside the box. Perhaps not something they intentionally do, but an end result to their attacking when they get frustrated. They're yet to score from outside the box, but something they continue to try. In their game versus Swansea, nearly 50% of all of their shots came from outside the box. Their pass map has a tendency to favour passes down the right-hand side and indicates a lack of quality in that final third. That said, looking up their build-up play, it's not too dissimilar from Coventry as they try to build up. Their touch map versus Swansea indicates a fairly even game, with the Swans doing well to remain competitive. Birmingham would typically like to see more touches higher up the pitch, something that they had plenty of in their first game in the season versus Ipswich. Looking at their expected goals, you'll see they've been able to create some good chances. However, you can see that their goals per match, well, they're not really converting them. Their games this season have been tight 1-0 affairs, and even when they've been more dominant in the game, they've still struggled to get more goals than one. Average possession-wise, they're similar to Coventry, trying to press high and dominate the ball. For touches in the box, they post reasonable numbers. Coventry, however, remain well out in front here. Possession won in the final third is an interesting one, as Coventry sit top with 6.2 times per match and Birmingham with 4.2. However, Birmingham do have a similar, if not more aggressive press. However, it often leads to a greater number of clearances or passing errors as opposed to being dispossessed. Looking at expected goals conceded, both teams don't give much away, so expect this to be a cagey affair with limited chances. On the flip side, a stat both teams won't want to see is big chances missed. Birmingham and Coventry in second and third here. Looking at Birmingham's top scorers, they'll certainly want to bolster their goal tally and get more players onto the score sheet. Match momentum-wise, Birmingham have been comfortable in their games and have been able to dominate in large spells, much to many people's surprise. They'll now be looking to work hard to turn that dominance into goals and ultimately match results. Now, into how they play. Birmingham set up in a 4-4-2 and high up the pitch, allowing them to press and squeeze the opposition into their own half. A very similar play style to Coventry. Their 2 forward players will provide very aggressive pressing. Stansfield in particular is a fantastic presser with bags of energy, and whilst he has questions on his finishing, he certainly offers a lot as a team player. You'll see the example here versus Leicester, really pushing them into a corner, forcing them to clear the ball. Again, another example here, forcing play backwards with a really aggressive press. And again, all with a solid 4-4-2 structure. You'll see the intensity on the next frame. Goalkeeper plays the ball and is immediately pressed. This typically starts a lot of Birmingham's own attacks. By pressing the opposition team as a collective unit, it limits the options to get out. Now, the opposition team can choose to clear the ball long and surrender that possession, or alternatively, a team that likes to retain the ball. So Swansea being a good example here, they elected to make options through player movement. Birmingham's keen press often led to Swansea being caught out on the ball and outnumbered, really. And this in turn leads to goal-scoring opportunities for them, where the opposition team's defensive structure is severely weakened. We saw this in abundance in the Ipswich game, where Ipswich simply couldn't get out their own half. That said, it comes with a major weakness. Teams that can remain calm and assert a bit of quality onto the ball can really hurt Birmingham. One or two quick passes can bypass most of the team, leaving big gaps in behind. And this is something Leicester did well. Birmingham largely were in control of the game, yet a few breaks and moments of quality, and Leicester were 2-0 up. Another key trait is Birmingham's narrow forwards. Gray in particular utilised this well versus Swansea, frequently drifting inside, leading the defender to either track and leave space for roaming fullbacks or leave him unmarked between those lines. It's certainly something to watch out for. Another watch out is Stansfield. Well, he's such an aggressive presser of the ball, but he also frequently drops deep into that midfield position to create overloads. His strike partner will often drag the defence deep. Now, Furuhashi is a dangerous player for this, and certainly with his pace in behind. You'll then see Stansfield rejoin the attack very quickly and find himself in this space between the lines. It's very dangerous. Defensively, Birmingham like to sit in a deep 4-4-2 and are well suited to slower build-up play where they can get men back behind the ball and dig in with a solid structure. We saw this here against Swansea. It's faster transitional play that's caught them out so far this season. Coventry mirror a lot of tactical play of that of Birmingham. Slightly different, setting up in a 4-2-3-1 however. Coventry utilise clean passing lanes within their build-up, securing possession in defensive lines, progressing up higher up the pitch to work a gap in the opposition before trying to break through down the wings. Birmingham will certainly look to make it difficult to get out of those transitional phases, so pass quality will need to be very high. Much like Birmingham, without the ball, Coventry will be pressing high up the pitch and break into a 4-4-2 press, with Hadji and Rodoni no doubt leading the line. And it's certainly been very effective this season. With the ball, I'd expect Grimes to be sitting much deeper than we've seen so far this season, almost forming that back three, just allowing more attacking options to roam forward and provide more options to help break the Birmingham press. Coventry will no doubt be looking to utilise their strong wing play, particularly down the right-hand side with Sakamoto, Rodoni and Milan looking to cross to the wing and get crosses into the box. I'd expect an increase in crosses for this game. Now, a quick note on our crosses. Whilst I'm pleased we've added more attacking options and tactics to our game, our crosses seem to be much less effective this season with only 21.6% success rate. Hopefully we can see some more effective balls this weekend. Now, looking at the last matches, it was really tight games. Birmingham edged Swansea and possibly looked the better team in that one actually. Coventry had a 0-0 versus Leicester. Now, watching the game back, I think we actually did play quite well. Slightly different to our previous games, however, just slightly different tactics. A few moments where we looked to touch slack, but good quality opposition here. So the point away from home, it's a good one. Into players to watch. For Coventry, we're going for Sakamoto. Good quality wing play. His trickery could create the moment of magic we need in potentially a really tight game. Jack Rodoni, well, he's been having some great games this season so far, and he's come close in a number of games, and you just feel like it's coming for him. And finally, Matt Grimes, potentially the real key in this game. He's going to be the one that's going to be able to get the grip of the possession and really going to help us beat that Birmingham press. For Birmingham, we've gone for Jay Stansfield. Now, he gets his criticism, but he's a fantastic team player. Great presser and always causes issues. Demarai Gray has been a standout for them really this season so far. Been tricky and well up for it. Certainly has more to come. And finally, Christoph Clara, defensive unit really, who hasn't given much away at all. It will certainly make life difficult for Hadji. Now, onto game predictions. I think Birmingham will come flying out the blocks with an extremely high press and look to be very aggressive. It'll be a real test for Coventry. How good are they on the ball under pressure? Coventry folded under high pressure last year versus Leeds. However, with Matt Grimes in the team, it's certainly a different team. I think after the first 15 minutes, the game will balance out and Coventry will come more into it. Overall, I think the game will play out quite lacklustre, with both teams not giving much away and more of a battle for the ball versus creating chances. I think both teams will lose their typical passing structure and you may see, a bit of a messy game. I'd expect both teams to have an XG between 1 and 2, however I'd expect both teams to actually struggle to find the net. This game could be decided simply by a mistake. I've run it through the match plot model and it's come away with a 1-0 away win. As a Cov fan, I don't like that too much and I can only hope my match plot model makes a second wrong result this season. You let me know, guys, what do you think? Thanks for watching as always. If you like the video, smash the like button or go on better and subscribe, and I will see you on the weekend. Cheers!